The townspeople of Greasy Grove were warned that a catastrophic winter storm would hit them. Some believed the warnings and they set up refuge in nearby tilted towers or took an extended leave to Paradise Palms. For the stubborn and maybe the poor, Greasy Grove was all they had. They prepared themselves the best they could, stocking up on everything from food to last them through winter, water, and even warm clothes, as well as sub-zero sleeping bags. Some believe the snowstorm and ice estimates to be blown out of proportion. Others just didn't have the means to leave the storm's wintry path. Whatever the reason, the townspeople were there. They were stuck there. Travel was halted. Prepared or not, the winter storm was approaching. The first 2 days were not bad. Everything was looking to blow over like the skeptics believed. But the snow kept falling, and it fell faster than they ever estimated. The flurries of snow didn't let up either. It snowed constantly, for days on end. By the 4th day, the houses were halfway covered. There was no way to leave them, unless they would use their roofs or windows. But even then, they would certainly die in the storm. The time for evacuating was long gone. It was time to ration your food and water and survive. Some of the townspeople had already died. Those without proper shelter froze to death. The others who had warm shelter as well as food faced a mental battle of survival. What if their food runs out, they thought? What if the house collapses over the building snow that kept piling on top of their homes? What if all the blankets and coats in the world weren't enough to protect them from the cold? And they too found themselves freezing to death. The skeptics certainly wished they heeded the warnings and evacuated like the others did before, but hindsight is 20/20. By day 7, a full week since the storm had started, homes and shops were all buried by snow. The people? They were all trapped inside their homes. Their homes had become like huge caskets, housing their soon-to-be dead bodies. The only thing keeping them alive right now was the amount of food, water, and heat they had. There was no turning on your sink for getting water. Those days were long gone. All the piping had been frozen solid. Once they ran out of food and water, they would all certainly starve to death. Some decided that that was too much, so they took the easy way out. They killed themselves. Better a death you choose than a slow and painful one like starving to death. Some murdered their own family in cold blood, just so they could later eat them for food. It was madness, but it was survival to its very core. On the 2nd week, by this time, everything was encased in snow. Food was running low. The people who were still alive, they were left with 3 options. The first was to accept dying by starving to death. The second was to kill a close friend or family member that was trapped in the house and resort to cannibalism. The third was to just kill themselves. As luck would have it, they would all be given a 4th choice. But this 4th choice was more of a demand. No one chose it, and it chose for them. The rain finally came in and mixed with the snow that had buried the townspeople in the buildings. That night, the temperature dropped drastically. In a flash, in a single moment, a great freeze happened. Everything from the inside of houses to the burger joint, everything in that moment became frozen solid. They all died. They all froze to death. Greasy Grove became a graveyard for those innocent townspeople. Go to where Greasy Grove used to be. You can stand on top of the frozen pond, but under it are the bodies and buildings of those who couldn't leave in time. I wonder, when the ice and snow falls, will we see their bodies?